After 2 days in the mountains, we finally reached Joseph, Oregon. Joseph has an amazingly vibrant downtown filled with small shops and public art. It also has, quite to our surprise, a bus that goes from downtown to Wallowa Lake that will gladly take bike tourists to the state park that has a hiker-biker campsite. While the hiker-biker site wasn't the most scenic, it was definitely the most spacious. It had more room than the car campers that were crammed in there tent to tent. The state park also had great fishing, an opportunity to get real close to wildlife. For only $5 a night, it was the best deal in town. One of the reasons we were going to Joseph was to see about a Hobbit. Dan Price is an author and illustrator who for the last 3 decades has been exploring the concept of simple living. He lives on a small plot of land that has a composting toilet that doubles as a mini gallery, a sweat lodge, an underground room that doubles as his art studio, and of course, his Hobbit home. Spoke to Dan about why he chose to live so simply and about the Moonlight Chronicles.
When I was about in 7th grade, I read a book called My Side of the Mountain about this kid in the Catskill Mountains, and he runs away from home and he finds this huge tree and he hollows it out. I think it's a true story. And he spent a winter living in this hollowed out tree, and he made a little cement stove out of mud, and he trapped and he lived in there, and I just freaked out when I read that. It's really pretty simple, isn't it? I mean, people want to have all these things. Well, to have all those things costs a lot of money, so you had to spend all this time working to have those things, and it just becomes a trap of. And I think that there's that essential thing about humans that we really want a lot of meaning in our life. We read the books about it, we study Buddhism, we want to have deep meaning in our life, but the way the culture has been developed and set up, it doesn't really happen. You know that everybody knows that, but we get all wrapped up in running down that treadmill that we don't really get off and go, wow, what is my life really about? You know, you have this one chance to make your life a work of art. It's like kick ass and do it. Don't do what everyone else is doing. You know, really work to make your life a work of art. That's it in a nutshell.
Dan also told us the origins of the Moonlight Chronicles.
In 1992, when I moved back here to Oregon, I was writing some letters to a friend in Kentucky, and for some reason I was going through hard times with my partner, and she was over in Corvallis and I was on this side of the state, and I started writing letters to my good buddy in Kentucky, and I titled them Moonlight Chronicles for some reason, and they were really extensive, crazy letters. I was painting and writing all this crazy stuff and painting around them, and there were really a lot of art involved in these letters, and I was doing that with other people too. I was sending them letters and finding cool things, and I just kind of put it all together in this 10 or 12 page little folded in pamphlet, and I thought, that's a cool little magazine. And so I started printing them, and then I started drawing and writing and collecting things, and basically my personal journal, I started publishing it and selling it, and people really liked it, so just kept doing it. Anybody who is a writer or a chronicler of things, I think looks at the world way different than a regular person. A regular person is kind of doing their job and going through the motions, maybe gets a movie, has a pizza, but you know, if you chronicle your life, or if you're like a reporter for a newspaper or something, you look at the world and go, wow, I can make a story out of this. So everything becomes a story. And when I got out of photography, when I came back to Oregon, I started drawing, and drawing was a really neat way to document things visually. What it's become is people really locked on to the story of how a guy figured out how to live a simple life and get off the main beaten track of having a house and a mortgage and car payments.
Dan then gave us a tour of the rest of the meadow, where he filters his water, how he takes a shower, and of course, where he makes his art.
Yeah, these are all the Chronicle issues. There's like 74 of them now. And starting back with even number one. Number one, pretty ridiculous. And this is the copy machine that they're printed on. It's a really good copy machine. And do all the layout and everything. Just a little workspace. It's about 8 feet by 20 feet underground room. And this is all these are the original, journals. Doubled up so you can print them. Wasn't covered up, but it's the wooden box that the first Chronicle collection goes in. Send that out to somebody today. This is how I do my subscriptions, right? Just a little book. It's not on a computer. It's just like, and so I can go on the back here and say, oh, this Jim McPherson is going to get the next issue, and then he's due. That's the last issue that he ordered.
It was so inspiring to talk to Dan and to see someone who truly lived the simple life and who was doing it for decades and not just as part of an internet fad or some kind of book scheme. We said our goodbyes and left him in the meadow, but his message of living the simple life and treating your life like a work of art will stay for us for a long time.